Stupid liars on paternity court.
I watched through my windows and watched raindrops fall, and he wasn't there. He told me he was coming. I waited and waited and waited. He never showed.
I wasn't with anybody else.
Obviously you were with someone else.
Jesus, Lord.
Xavier was born 40 weeks after conception. December 24th to September 24th is 40 weeks.
Imagine two sisters entangled in a web of paternity drama, and that too for years. Well, that's what Shanice and Kira were stuck with. Moreover, one of them wanted the defendant to be a father, and one did not. All the while, baby daddy had a ton of doubts. Let's get started on this one then.
When's the last time you saw this man?
Mr. Harden actually came to our house in Minnesota with his two sisters, in which we all just spent the day together. The last I recall, I was 11 years old, and my sister Kiera was 10.
11?
Mm-hmm.
And you're 26 now?
Correct.
So, Mr. Harden had been dodging child support for two daughters he's not sure are his. He's got his suspicions, but his daughters called him a big, fat liar. Though, on the other hand, he goes into quite some detail about their dear mother and her shenanigans.
Their mother didn't allow me to come around them at all. There's no way that I would not want to be around my daughters. I asked for paternity tests from day one. I used to catch Ms. Gannell with several different men during the course of our relationship. I would actually come in and see men running out the door.
Well, that would certainly raise all kinds of alarms. Starting with the eldest daughter, the baby daddy drops even more shocking details around the time she was conceived, and the time after as well. Mommy had been a naughty girl.
When you found out she was pregnant, did you think the baby was yours?
There was a possibility, Your Honor, but
You only felt there was a possibility?
Yes, because she had slept with two of my friends prior to that. I found that
During
out.
the time Shanice was conceived?
Shanice had already been born 6 weeks. So between that time, I waited. I didn't want to deal with the situation, so I got away from her.
Next up, the woman of the hour stepped up. Yep, dear old mommy. She had quite a lot of questions and allegations to answer. Man, it's gonna be a long day for her. However, as soon as they start, the two don't seem to be on the same page. So much for it being easy.
There could be one
Yeah.
more person.
Yeah.
Okay, Shanice, did you know this?
Yes.
So you do know this? Okay. Who's on the birth certificate for Shanice?
Just me.
No father listed. How about Kiera?
No.
So you're paying child support though.
That's
You say
correct.
you owe almost $90,000 between the two girls.
It appears the defendant got served, and hard. According to the baby mama, he signed the documents willingly. Obviously, Mr. Harden did not agree to that version. Actions speak louder than words. And so, his doubts continue to haunt him.
I was issued a court order because I was late for court in the initial court date, and they ruled as default. They actually took my truck driver license, Your Honor. I used to drive trucks before this came about. They took my truck driver's license, my livelihood.
Because you were late to court, you were named the father by default.
Named Daddy by default? Moving on from that miserable note, the baby daddy claimed to have asked for a paternity test on a few occasions. However, the plaintiffs rejected that claim faster than the flash. Someone here's lying for sure.
Your Honor, I begged for a paternity test. I
I
petitioned
am
the court.
25 and 26 years old. You had all this time to do it. You should have did this way back when. There's no doubt you should have did this.
I did it immediately.
Why are you letting us call you dad when you doubted this whole time?
No, you don't understand.
Oh, the daughters did not stop there. Nuh-uh. They weren't buying a single word coming out of the baby daddy's mouth. Moreover, they suspected him of denying paternity solely because of back pay. And you won't believe the excuse he gave for that one. And the shade is being thrown on top of that.
Only time that he's denied us. We're just now hearing about this. We went our whole life. He's been calling us our dad. He's been saying he loved us, he missed us, he wants to see us. He's never in our whole life denied us until
Your
now.
Honor, right over here and I'm right over here. I'm right in the middle. I don't know.
Oh no, the shade throwing didn't stop there. Not at all. Mr. Harden took it up a notch and claimed Mama was all happy because of the money she was getting for child support. Yep, Guess he didn't like getting his checks garnished.
You can believe in a
understand.
possibility and then you can not believe in a possibility,
Right.
but it doesn't change the fact that it's a possibility.
You're absolutely right. If we come to find out that he is not the father, then I will take that matter into my hands.
Your Honor, this is why I'm 50-50 because after she was starting seeing those checks, she was more than happy.
Moving on, the baby daddy shared how tough his life had been with all this. And the eldest daughter didn't like that very much. Oh, she gave him a piece of her mind. From having similar features to the same sleeping habits, she covered a range of paternity aspects for him.
I acknowledge it.
Your Honor, this particular situation has not only destroyed my life, it has destroyed our relationship.
You're looking like the good guy right now. If you look at me, David, we look just alike. If you look at my sister, you guys walk just the same.
Drum roll, please. It was time for the grand reveal. Yep, the results were in, and Judge Lake was ready to get this whole thing over with. Let's see what cards these guys are dealt.
Mr. Harden, you are her father.
I told you.
All right. I'm so sorry. Like I say, I'm devastated.
A courtroom showdown of epic proportions is coming straight your way, peeps. We've got a mother, a child, and a denial that's left them homeless. Yup, the cruelty of the baby daddy knew no bounds, it seems. But he claimed to have valid doubts. The stage was set. Let's dive right in.
I grew up with a father. I know how important it is to have a father in your life. With him being in and out of our lives and kicking us out, and kicking us, not only me, but his son out of his apartment. We landed in a homeless shelter. I was known as resident 1625, sleeping in a twin-sized bed with my son.
That's not true.
Sharing-
You did not kick her out.
It's a classic tale of love gone sour. Mr. Buckley admitted throwing the mommy out. However, Miss Curtis seemed to have conveniently left a tiny detail out, and baby daddy wasted no time hopping on the I can't have kids train.
She told me she was gonna make my life a living hell while living in my apartment, and that's why I called my landlord. I don't think I can have kids.
You don't believe you can have children.
No, Your Honor. I was in a relationship before. We tried to conceive a child. It didn't happen. We separated. She ended up having 2 other children.
It seemed the defendant had been trying to have a mini him in previous relationships. Sadly, no luck. However, the baby mama appeared to be more lucky than what's believable. Mommy was not happy about that situation.
You said you told every other girl you were in a relationship with, congratulations, who's the father? But I was different, that you were willing to step up and be his father, which you haven't done.
I allowed you to live in my apartment. You
And
left
still didn't
because
come
I
and
didn't want
see
to
him.
be with you.
No, I didn't leave because I didn't want to be with you.
Yes. Every
No.
time I came over there, it was pure heck.
We lived together
I
from
allowed
the-
you to. You had your own apartment.
Hard to believe these guys were once an item. With the words they are now throwing around at each other, no love was lost here. In a nutshell, Mommy had issues with the daddy, and Daddy had serious issues with the mama. Poor Xavier is stuck in between.
I know who I was with when I conceived.
I know who you were with too, and it wasn't just me.
So staying at your house and spending Christmas with you? Who was I having sex with? Your brothers?
Told
I was
me
supposed
she-
to go home for Christmas, and I couldn't afford to go home. So he volunteered for me to spend Christmas with him and his family.
Your Honor, she also told me she had sex with someone while she was pregnant.
Now, what happened on the day of birth? Surely, with all these nagging doubts, Mr. Buckley would have had a hard time being in the hospital. Turns out, the baby daddy was busy having a heart-to-heart moment with the baby.
They took me in for an emergency C-section, and when I woke up and they wheeled me by the nursery to see him, Mr. Buckley was standing there with tears running down his face. That was the moment that I fell in love with Mr. Buckley. He'd been standing there since he came into the nursery until I got rolled to my room about 2:30. That's a couple hours him standing there just looking at our beautiful son.
In his defense, though he stated he was swayed by his heart, however, his mind did manage to pull him back from that momentary lapse. As his suspicions were real, the defendant brought a witness along with an exhibit to back him up. And boy, was that enlightening.
What exactly could you see from your door to
I
hers?
can see men coming out of this door
That
and
door.
her running up to the Africans up at the other apartments up top.
The Africans I
They
was
were her-
teaching English to
She-
because he came from Africa and
That's a
didn't
lie.
speak English.
That is a lie.
He didn't speak
He spoke English to me.
Thank you so much for your testimony, ma'am.
Now for the moment we've all been waiting for. So eagerly. The results! Someone's pants were surely about to be on fire, as the results would lay down all the truth. Let's see which party comes out clean out of this mess.
Mr. Buckley, you are not his father.
Oh, baby.
I'm very sorry. Miss Curtis,
I wasn't with anybody else.
Obviously, you were with someone else.
I need you to stop this right now, babe. He's not the father.
Miss Sanchez, along with the defendant, were entangled in a legal and love limbo, all thanks to a tiny 8-month-old secret. These guys were spiritually married. Yeah, now that was a new one for me too. But the denial was stopping them from being legally married. Here we go.
It's important to me to save my marriage with my husband because this has gone on for 2 years of accusations and lies and the fact that he doesn't trust me. It's very hurtful and it means a lot to me. We prove once and for all that he's the father of my son and put it all to bed after this.
Time to start from the beginning. Imagine a Tinder meet-cute, a swift romance, and some questionable choices. Their relationship was like a speeding vehicle, but with a heck of a lot of trust issues. He swiped right, she swiped back, but there were a few unexpected detours, like a night with someone else. Oh yeah!
We actually hung out. She came over, we had some drinks, one thing led to another, and we had sex the first night.
The first night you met?
Yes, it was the first night.
That's definitely a super swipe, super like, whatever you called it.
Super swipes led to super fun times. However, neither of them was on the same page on the concept of exclusivity, especially the baby mama. Oh, she needed to get her definitions right, because she was being painted as less than trustworthy, and coupled with the baby daddy's friends telling on her, well, that was the last nail in the coffin.
I showed my friends pictures of her because I'm hyped. I'm like, she beautiful, she matched with me, we met. She's at a bar giving somebody else her number, it looks like.
Nope.
So it just started to form like issues with trust. If she slept with me the first night that we met, she probably could have slept with him the first night.
Well, Miss Sanchez was honest. Gotta give her that at least. But wait till you hear this story now. It appears baby mama went on a grocery trip, and when the baby daddy went to take the groceries out, you won't believe what he found in the trunk.
We went to the grocery store and we came back, so I go to the trunk to get the groceries or whatever, and I find men's boxers in the trunk. Now, I know for sure these aren't mine. I'm like, whose are these? These are not mine.
Moving on from that EW scene, we head towards the conception timeline, and it's a dizzying whirlwind of accusations and desperation. Miss Sanchez was sure about the date. However, baby daddy had proof otherwise. Uh-oh.
He took me to Vegas for my birthday, and on that trip is when we had sex again, unprotected, and I know that I conceived October 20th. That's my birthday.
I have proof that October 15th, a friend of mine, Mr. Stevenson, seen her at a bar talking to somebody else.
Baby mama was just denying everything left and right, but something was fishy. Baby daddy's doubts were not easing up, quite the opposite. And they took a nosedive when, during an argument, mama rang a bell that so should not be rung.
Well, you don't need to come to the hospital because he's not yours. We're good.
What? Miss Sanchez, after all that, you ring that bell?
In those moments of tension, trying to hurt him, I'm trying to upset him, I know exactly what to say that's gonna upset him, and I knew that would be the #1 thing.
Hold on to your seats now, folks. It's the truth time. The judge was ready to open the sealed envelope and reveal the answer. That could either salvage their rocky love story or send it crashing into oblivion.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Turman, you are the father. You are the father. That is your son.
That's amazing.
Baby Zoe's paternity was more tangled than a bowl of spaghetti. Her mama had her love with the defendant on the line as he was tired of her lying and cheating. Will this paternity puzzle finally be solved? Let's find out.
We've been on again, off again, Your Honor, and the end of most of our arguments is he likes to throw that in my face whether Zoe's his or not, and Anthony knows that that's his daughter, I mean, without a doubt.
But Mr. Callender, you do question it.
Yes, ma'am. It's like a dark cloud hovering over us.
So, how did this love story begin? It appears these guys had a brief relationship and then went separate ways. But lo and behold, those guys rekindled their love again. However, the circumstances weren't too favorable for the baby daddy this time around.
So you thought this relationship was pretty much over?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
Did you have to sneak around though?
She would come see me on lunch breaks, after she got off work.
I was not trying to be disrespectful to a man that I'd been with. He knew it was over. We were both doing our own thing, and I wasn't trying to flaunt my new relationship in front of him.
It appears Mommy was playing both sides of the field, and that made the baby daddy feel like a dark cloud of uncertainty was following him. Their living situation was a thorn in his side. But what happened after she moved out? Well, that was just the icing on the cake.
He shows up with soup and a teddy bear because she's sick, but how did he know that she was sick if they haven't been communicating?
Soup and a teddy bear?
He would bring me flowers to work and left a soup and a teddy bear on my front porch.
But this is a man that you were allegedly not sleeping with.
Right.
And this wasn't just it. Miss Polzin and her stupid lies were being exposed all over. After the teddy bear and soup fiasco, baby daddy took a look at Mama's phone, and a surprise was awaiting for him there.
I dialed from her phone and I'd seen that his number was in there, and just out of curiosity, I clicked on it and it said they had had conversations for 30 minutes, and I asked her about it, what they had been talking about, and she said, oh, it was just, he was wanting to know if she wanted to get a few more things from the residence that she had left behind.
Moving on, after being at every appointment, the baby daddy was suddenly not allowed to visit. And the phone call from the ex? Well, let's just say that was the last straw that broke the camel's back.
Oh, the ex said, could it be mine?
Yes.
Now, how did you find this out?
I was standing around when he had made the call and was just listening in, and I heard her say, is there a chance it's mine? But according to Rachel, they hadn't had any kind of sexual contact for 3 or 4 months before we had started seeing each other.
Oh, the notorious ex was a bane of baby daddy's existence. Yup. Even after going their separate ways, he was still very much present in their lives. So much so as asking the plaintiff for one last hurrah, if you catch my drift.
As you were getting the last few things out of your house, he had made the comment, you said that he would ask for one last shebang.
Oh, really?
Yes, he did.
But you declined?
No, of course I declined. I had been over that relationship for a very long time, and I had only been sexually active with Mr. Calendar.
Mr. Calendar's mother, too, was emotionally invested in this whole situation. In the last desperate attempt, baby mama presented an exhibit listing all the reasons she believed Zoe to be the defendant's daughter. Wasn't too convincing, though.
Him and Zoe both have the same attitude. They are very particular about things, such as the way they like their foods and things like that, and if they don't get their way, they'll throw a fit till they get what they want. And I do not act like that at all.
Same temperament?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The moment of reckoning was here. The DNA results were in, and they could change everything. Both sides were anxiously waiting for the revelation. Will the paternity cloud be lifted? We are about to find out.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Calendar, you are the father. You are the father, and I'm so happy I could give you the result all of you so desperately wanted.